with Shattercock. Our folks, what's happening? Johnny D. Long at the Hobo Depot, which is right there. Alright, so look, we want to talk today. And I want to talk to you about what is the first thing you do when you walk into a candy store. This is what I do. If I'm there to check out a base that I think I might want to purchase, there's a couple things I want to do. If I want to check out an amp that I think I'm there and I might want to purchase, it's a couple things I need to do. Let's go with the base first. All right, so I walked in the store and I needed this base, right? I done checked out all the other bases. I've been in there most all day checking out bases. But the one base that's in my mind was this base. Take, for instance, this base. Not this base, this Hootie. All right, so I take this base, and the first thing I want to do before I even plug the base in is tune it up. I want to look at it real close. I'm going to tune it up. Got my tuner. But I'm going to look at it real close. If it's used, I got to check all over it. Check the neck sockets if it have one. This is a neck through, so it doesn't have a socket. So I'm going to check all the war paint that's on it and see what area it's in. Because if it's in this area here, then pretty much the base was played. I'm going to check, the next thing I'm going to check is my neck. I want to check where the tuners are. Is there any cracks in the tuners? Coming from the tuners? Let's look, mix it up. We're going to check the back of the tuners. We're going to check to see if any cracks coming from anywhere in the tuners. We're going to check right around here for any kind of crack. Anywhere up in there. Anywhere up in here. All right? The next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to check right in this middle part right here. I'm going to open up the strings and I'm going to check and see if there's any cracks. And I'm going to do that all the way down the neck. I'm going to put it this close like this. Look, I'm going to be like this. Uh-huh. And if you have to put your glasses on, put your glasses on. If you have to have a magnified glass, see it, do that too. And you check it all the way down. And then when you get down here, you check all down here, you check around your pickups and see if anything's happening around there. You check your pickups out and your bridge. You start checking your bridge. All right, to check your bridge, you check and see if all the adjusters are not so rusted that you can't adjust them. All right. If you're in the store, you want to buy a good base, you got to check it out. You don't want to get it home and all of a sudden you got to work on it. So you check all your adjusters and check and see if they're rusted, because if they rusted, you can't break them loose and reset your base when you get home. You also want to check your strings. I mean, I said your strings. You check your screws and your pickups and see if they're all rusted up, because if they are, then you got to check them. You got to change them too. You check your butt. See if it's got a big butt. You check your butt out. Make sure ain't nobody did no serious drop on it, and there's no cracks. You know, definitely where your belt thingamajig goes. I couldn't get it out. Your belt lock, right? And if you could, if they allow you, go inside the base while you're there. If they won't allow you to do it, you ask the tech there to open up the base, and you look inside and see if there's any kind of craziness going on. What kind of craziness you talking about? Well, somebody may change the preamp in it. So it's supposed to come with this, so they may change the preamp in it, and now you got a different kind of preamp. You at least want to know what it is. Tell them, hey man, I just want to know what kind of preamp in it, because bass sounds so good. And all the time you want to check and see, this joint don't supposed to be like this. Okay? Then you take your bass and you check your tuning. You check it all the way up naturally. See if it tunes well. Alright? Then you go to your 12th fret. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12th fret. And you tune it through that. Alright? Make sure it's dead money. Make sure it's dead money. If it's dead money, cool. Now, you look down your neck. Let's go back again. You have to look down your neck and to see if it's doing any kind of dolphin tricks. I call it dolphin tricks. Right? So this is how you do that, right? I gotta put your camera down a little bit. You look straight down your base like this, and you look on the top of your neck. And if that neck is doing anything crazy, put it back on the wall. Then you flip it to the side, and you look down it this way. If that neck is doing anything crazy, put it back on the wall. Because you're just setting yourself up for something not good. And totally not pleasant. So, you done went through all that. Next thing you want to check is your knobs. You take your knobs, and you check your knobs back and forth. Making sure that the knob itself is tight, and the control is, the pot itself doesn't keep turning all the way around. You check all of them. Check all of them. Even the stack knobs, check them too. And you take the base and you look at it and you go back and forth on each knob like that. All right, when you do that, it lets you know that that knob is tight. If it's still doing this kind of number, you might want to get the tech to tighten it up and then recheck it again. Make sure that you have a screw on your input jack. All right, now let's go back to your tuners. On your tuners, make sure also that you have screws in each one of your tuners. Make sure there's screws in them. All right, you see it? Am I doing this right? Make sure you have screws in each one of your tuners. That's a good thing. All right, make sure that your tuners have a top on them. Sometimes they break off. If they break off, you're in trouble. Or you can get the tech while you're there to put your another tune on. All right, next thing I want to do is, like I said, we already tuned the bass, right? So we want to find a really decent chord. So we asked the people in the candy store, you got a really nice chord? Okay, this is one of my old chords. So you find a chord, all right, check it out. These are things you can do. You check your chord out, each end, make sure it's tight. All right, go to the other end, make sure it's tight. All right, if it's tight, cool. Now you got a better chord. Also, while you got the chord in your hand, check it. Check and see if any dents in it, somebody stepped on it, or they rolled on it, or you got a crease in it that looks kind of crazy, because that could affect your bass too. Your bass could be good, but the chord could be bad, and so it gives you a different signal. All right, now let's go to the amp. Y'all see what I got on the ground? This is my little roller. This is my little cube amp. All right, it's a Cube 15. A lot of people are like, what are you doing a Cube 15? I love this little amp to life. All right, why do I love this little amp to life? Absolutely, because it does what it's supposed to do. Now, let's go back to your cord. Take your cord in, stick it in your bass input jack. Stick it in. If it doesn't pop, you take it to the tech. Pull it out and try it again. If it doesn't pop, take it to the tech. All right, don't buy the bass yet. Take it to the tech. Make sure that when you put it in, it pops. All right, now let's go back to the amp. What is the first thing most of us do when we go into the store? First thing we do is we go run straight to the biggest amp, because we want to hear this joint kill. We want to hear it kill. That's the worst mistake you can ever do, is go to the biggest amp in the store, because the biggest amp going to give you the biggest explosion of what you don't need to hear. You get it? What you don't need to hear. You don't need to hear all that. You don't need to hear all that. If you're going to hear that, you need to hear it on low volume. So I run to the smallest amp, and a lot of times I run to the cheapest amp, because if it works well in the cheapest amp, then it'll work even more. Look, I'm going to say it'll work even more better in a bigger amp. All right, so I'm using my little small cube today. So here's another thing we need to learn. All right, so we're leaving the bass and going to the amp now. Here we go. I don't know if y'all can see this. I'm gonna head and unplug it 1 second. Watch. So this amp been in storage for a while. I love this lamp. She's a little rusty and dirty, but look. See what I got my setting at? Here's my settings right here. That's like maybe one, a little bit past zero, a little bit past zero. That's probably 2. That's probably 2 or 3. All right. Why am I doing that? Because I have an active bass. This bass is active. Why would I want to put, think about it, why would I want to put all that heat on this amp and that bass is active? I don't want to do that. I want to put less heat on this amp. I don't even want to go to D10. A lot of people go like, oh, just set it at D10. Oh no. If I got an active bass, I need to set this on the lowest I possibly can. I need to hear the quality of the bass, not the quality of the amp. The amp gonna always do what it's supposed to do if it's any kind of quality. I want to hear what this sounds like. So, we're now back at trying the amps out. Never get the biggest amp to try out your bass. A lot of people say, well, if you take the bass before you actually plug it in and go like this, that should tell you how the bass sounds. If it sounds great acoustically, it sounds great coming through an amp. Alright, so this, oh, I didn't tell you what kind of bass it is. This is a 1986 BC Rich Wave bass. Is it a bass I've been looking for years? Absolutely, I got it. Believe in what you need, man. Believe in what you need. Remember that. And if you believe hard enough, you'll get it. Alright, so you already see my setting on my amp. You already know this has a preamp in it. In fact, it has a tone monster in it. I did like this. You can even see my eye. I wink my eye. Alright, so I'm gonna turn the amp on. Are you on, Mr. Amp? Yeah, he's on. Alright. So now I have the preamp turned off. Okay? When I say turn off, I don't mean turn off, turn down. I have the treble turned down, I have the bass turned down. I need to see what this bass is gonna sound like with that particular preamp that's in it. So I go to my rear pickup first. I turn my volume on. With the lowness of my amp, I turn my volume on without any kind of juice from my preamp so far. And I go through it. This is the front pickup. What I'm hearing is what this bass sounds like. This bass has EMGs in it, so I know these are the old 1970 EMGs. So they're gonna sound a little bit different than the newer. Now this amp ain't blasting me out of the whole yard. I'm hearing what this bass sounds like on the P side. I said the P side on the P side. Let's go to the rear pickup. See, I'm hearing what this bass sounds like. If I cut this bass off, I should be hearing that same sound coming from this bass. So now I go back to both pickups. Okay, now I'm gonna start asking for some juice. I'm gonna ask for detent and treble. Am I hearing something different? Now I'm beginning to hear what the preamp sounds like and what the bass sounds like with the preamp on low volume on the amp. Rear pickup. Front pickup. Both pickups. Now, I'm going to ask for bass. So we at bass at D10, treble at D10. I'm listening for what I need to hear out of this little small amp. Because I know when I get on a bigger amp, everything is going to be this big, all right, or bigger. But I need to know what this bass sounds like on this little joint. Okay, I'm getting there. So now I'm gonna turn my bass to 3/4. Now I'm going to turn my treble to 3/4. I am now at the state of I know what this bass sounds like on low volume. Now I know what the quality of the bass sounds like coming through a small amp. If I think like a big amp, it's going to be crazy. I know that this bass is going to kill on my regular rig because I just brought it through something that doesn't have the power of my regular rig. It ain't blasting me out the place. It ain't overdriving. It ain't sounding like it's farting out. It ain't doing none of that. I'm hearing the bass for what it is. Okay? And the preamp helps a whole lot because it brings different things out on the bass. Boy, you better preach, boy. You just better preach. That was good to me. That was good for me. That was good for me. Anyway, y'all. I love my wave mate, my BC Rich wave bass, and I hope what I said today that somebody heard it. That's all I'm saying, man. I hope you guys heard it, and I hope it's useful for you, cause it was useful for me and Hootie too. It was useful for him. Now he's gonna go inside and he's gonna try to do the same thing I did, except he ain't got no hangs. You ain't got no hangs, Hootie. He ain't got no hangs. Hootie, you ain't got no hangs. Thanks for checking out my videos. Please subscribe. Shada Kaka.